it is the age of digital disruption. How can startups take the advancement in technology in their stride and really go forward and achieve their dreams? How can technology, of course, every startup needs certain kind of technology to their goals, but in this current age, how difficult or easy is it?
So I would say two things. First is India, like if you look at the last 5 years, right, we have changed ourselves to be more of subscribers to the technology as opposed to being providers. Like until 2010, we were more like most of our economy was we are giving out services to Western countries. But with mobile adoption, with like technology reaching, with affordability of smartphones, I think it's in the reach of everybody's hands. But what startups tend to ignore, or I still don't see that culture in India, is we tend to recreate everything by ourselves and we tend to own everything by ourselves. I think we have to break that and say, what is the true business that you are in and how can you collaborate with somebody who's done that, quickly stitch the components and then make your business run. I think that is something we don't want to do. If someone else has done it, I want to recreate everything because I want to own all the pieces of it rather than understanding that there is enough for everybody, have the maturity to collaborate and quickly stitch what is needed for your business. Is somebody done it? Let me collaborate and have that, integrity in you saying that I think I'm willing to share the pie equally because somebody is supporting. If we gain that maturity of learning to understand what is out there, quickly reach out to them and say that, can you be useful into my business? Stitch the components and really focus on your business as opposed to saying that, I want to build this as well. I want to own this. I want to recreate everything. If you see, most of the people are trying to recreate everything and want to own all of it and they get lost in the journey.
Actually, it's very, very good example which Raj said, and I'll put it in a simple way for what I am trying to explain. Especially I see a lot of BNI members here, all are small businesses. Assume if you wanted to create a tally for your business, and you give software license, it's like that, I want to create a tally for me because I need tax component to be hidden here. You are wasting your time and money. Or I want to create Excel sheet myself because these cells need to be red color. Again, you are wasting time. So there are so many solutions for every business, which is already built. Only thing is, it may not 100% suit you. Our exact requirement doesn't match, but it comes very cheaper. That's what you need to get going. So I think as he said, there are so many SaaS solutions, so which for the especially SMEs and businesses, where you can use that. It's okay. Where you can use them, and I think that's the way you instead of recreating everything from scratch, using whatever it is there and move on. That's how you adopt digitalization, and not only you, your employees, your shop, wherever you are, so that you don't spend too much capex to adopt. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Now, Mr. Iyer, you have certain experience in international business as well. So for startups that want to move from localization to globalization, there are a set of challenges. You have alien regulations, you have quotas, you have currency rate fluctuations, and all of that. So what is your advice for these startups to overcome challenges if they want to venture into the global sector?
Yeah, so before I even answer that, I'll kind of add on to the last thing because I can't stop from. I think if you have a smartphone and if you know how to search on Google, I think a lot of the things are there. I think we still are kind of, we like to ask even before we kind of try to search. So we should be a nation of tellers rather than askers, right? And I think that is like very prevalent, which I keep seeing, because a lot of the information is there, but we are just lazy not to go there and search and kind of do the needed. So that's on the previous one. On the next question that you asked, I think as I started saying that there is a lot of these hotspots, innovation plays, hubs, incubators that are now trying to solve this, where you go there and there is a lot of puzzle that will be solved. The other thing that has happened is, thanks to the various consulates, and I think the Canadian consulate office is here helping for the event. I think a lot of these consulates and economic development boards are now partnered in this whole scheme of how can they create true impact of being in the country. So obviously all these associations, the consulate officers and the EDBs are there to look at trade and two-way trade between how can their country kind of also take advantage for expansions, which is great, but they're also ready to give back in terms of expertise, knowledge and connections. So I think everybody doesn't need to solve all the problems. They just need to go to the right incubators which are solving all of these problems of how do you connect globally, how do you kind of get to an other incubator say in Singapore, and how do you raise capital. Some of those problems are already solved by TM. So I think people just need to kind of get there, and many of those challenges are taken care. I mean, he kind of gave a great example of how can you go to Barcelona being a startup. So all those things today are being solved. You just need to go there and ask more, right? So
one challenge I'll still say is government still has to play a major role today in helping out solving some of the economic policies still, because for example it doesn't make sense for me to pay an 18% VAT or a GST professional services charges if I'm engaging some talent outside of the country. I totally understand the concept of, if let's say I'm engaging somebody in China and if I have to make a payment to those guys, I still don't understand why I have to pay 18% on that to the Indian government. I think some of these really have to change. Second thing is, we say that we are a startup nation, but guess what? A simple 1 lakh rupee credit card, if a corporate needs to get it as a startup, you know what is the turnover that you need to have? 35 crores for a simple credit card. Otherwise you have to put in a deposit and take it. Like, where are we a startup nation? Like, if we say, I mean, I'm taking a dig at it now, telling about the real life challenges of what we go through. Some of the basics can be enabled. A 10,000 rupees salary guy is happy to get a credit card, but a corporate who's putting their life in bet needs to have a revenue of 35 crores. 18% GST. If you look at importing a product to the country, the total overhead before you can sell it is 45%. Where do you have the luxury to mark up 45% and still make money and compete? So it's impossible. We say that made in India, make in India and everything, but still we have to import a lot of components, and when you import them, there's a heavy import duty. So you have import duty, then on top of it, then you have GST, then you have like, there's a lot of other overheads that you get. So it's literally 43.5% as an overhead you have to pay. So today we pay that kind of an overhead. So it just kills the company to take so much of overheads, then sell the product, then put the service around it. So it's a lot. So probably I'm giving that message out to the governments, at least the next government which comes in, definitely should take a look at these policies and give a break. Then only I think we can flourish as an economy.
I think I'll just add to Raj one more 30 seconds. Honestly, yes, it's a learning process not only for people and also government. Actually, I am fed up. I wrote an article in 2012 in my blog. When I came back, it took me almost 15 days to incorporate a company, another 2 weeks to open a bank account. I mean, this is the truth. I was so fed up. But today it comes very quickly. Okay, I think it's going through the process of they themselves learning and reacting. That's a real example of angel tax. I wrote it in 2012 when angel tax introduced in our website. Is it a killer? Yes, it is a killer. But today they realized after 6 years they are modifying. It's a learning process, not only for ecosystem, which we entrepreneurs and also governments. But important is we better have a government which can listen and implement
Absolutely.
it. That's important.
Absolutely.
I think.
Right. I think round of applause now for all of them. Fantastic. I think we'll have to reserve
Thanks, gentlemen,
reserve
for
a lot
sharing.
of questions. This will keep continuing. Shruti, if we can open the floor for
Yes,
questions.
absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen, for your expertise and your insight into this. The floor is now open for a very quick question and
Couple
answer
of
session.
questions. Yeah.
Everyone is hungry.
Everyone's hungry here. There.
Okay, there's a question in the back, last. Try to speak, I think we can listen.
Can we pass the mic there?
Being connected to financial literacy, accounting literacy, business planning. Okay. Now, what do investors like you do, or maybe T-Hubs do, to make sure that there not just a one-time program, but make it a repeatable or institutionalize it so that the people that you're giving money to, or these startups, have this knowledge and they don't end up making bad financial decisions?
I think, honestly, if I am putting money, it's my interest to protect my money first. No matter what, if there's a board meeting is going through, if I don't feel that right, it's my responsibility to put them, otherwise I will lose my money along with his time. That's a different. So financial literacy, you're talking about.
Financial literacy. Yes.
Yeah.
Financial literacy. Of course, these founders have that financial literacy. and they know little bit. Of course, they may not know IRR calculations and all. They, if the entrepreneur, this is a fire in the belly for him. At the end of the day, how much I'm making, back of the envelope calculations to rahega. Isliye to, I mean, that's the reason they made this financial modeling. That's how they came for money, and that's how they're asking money. And only thing is, when they get money, those are gone back. They start spending. As if you give your pocket money for your children, instead of 50 rupees, 100 rupees, he enjoys, right? That's where the board comes, the directors. And that's where the limitations comes. I remember one of the company which has a hold, which we actually put a hold in 2013, 2015. Today that company is still alive. The founder comes back and says, thank you. Okay, because the hold, every check he signs, it has to come through us. For 6 months we made it, and now everything is fine. So it's just a matter of, the board who takes decision and help. Although the founder may feel difficult, but it's a good path. It's like helping our children to be financially protective. I think that's all.
Thank you very much. Ram, could you please address that, because I know you were involved with T-Hub. So from a T-Hub standpoint, how do you equip the startups with this?
Financial literacy.
Which is like helping them on the financial side,
Right,
due
right.
diligence. There is enough programs and mentoring interfaces that incubators like T-Hub, and we definitely at T-Hub used to do a lot, and we continue to do that. And it is on the same line that you talked about, which is startups. Obviously, most of them are first-time entrepreneurs, so they don't understand how to raise, what to raise, even if to raise, and that's the most important thing. Do you really need to raise? So I think we kind of go through the grind of ensuring that right guy, right team, right idea. I think if that kind of aligns, those are critical aspects. The rest of the thing can be kind of thought. And the most important thing is the entrepreneur has to be amenable to kind of, listening to people who have done or having the maturity and stability. I think from an investor standpoint, those are more critical. Businesses can be sorted, as Raj was mentioning, you can always kind of continue to pivot till you get the right business model, right customer segment, right revenue models, etc. But I think the right entrepreneur is what, it's like a classical thing, right? Most people bet on the jockey rather than the horse, if that explains.
Okay.
Thank you.